Now I'd like to talk about the viewports and navigating around in 3dsmax 2013. So if you have a look here, it usually comes up with 4 views as default with Max, but you can change all of these 4 views. And you have more than 4 views or less, less than 4 views. So as to actually click and actually activate a view, just click on the view and you'll see there's a yellow gold line around it saying that it's activated. So that's how you activate a view. Okay, now you'll notice in these 4 views that we have a perspective view here, and you can see actually texture and stuff on the teapot, when these ones are front view, top view, left view, and they're all in wireframe view. If I click on the perspective name in the view here, you'll see that you can change the type of view it is. So basically all these views here, these 3 wireframe here, orthographic views, and this one here is in a perspective view. But if you click on the name, you can get to changing that by just simply clicking top, bottom, left, front, etc. So you can change that view. Now this is in perspective view and it's got shaders, smooth and highlights on them. So if I went into, say, the top view, you see that it's looking down on the top view in there. Okay. So how do you change the different views and how do you navigate around? Well, the first thing you might want to see, I'll just change this back, is that you can do this, of course. The first thing I might be able to show you is that if you hover over in the corner in the middle of one of your views, you can actually left click and drag the view out like so. Alright, so you can actually do it manually like so, move them around. You can do the same here. You can make one bigger or one smaller. Yeah. So you can change the sizes of them. You'll also notice with 2013 there's a new little button, cool little button down here on your left hand corner, bottom corner, and you can click the little arrow there. You've got all your different views here. Now there's a number of ways of getting to changing your viewport layouts. Obviously this is nice and simple and new. So if I clicked on this guy, I now have that in my little tab over on the side, so I can actually go to that view with one click, which is fantastic. So that's a nice easy working way to move around in space. The other ways to change it is actually if you click on the little plus sign in your views, you should be able to configure viewpoints. There it is. You can go into there where you can get a configure of the viewpoints, the layout, so you can change it in there. You can also probably go up to views up the top there, and I'd say you can viewport configuration, you can get into it that way as well. So there's a number of ways you can change your views. So again, if you want to, you can come in here, you can click on the front and you can change that to, say, a left, and it changes the view around for you in an orthographic view. So I'll go back to front there. So that's how you change all your views around. The other thing is the view cube that appears in the corner of each of these views. The view cube is a way that you can navigate around in the views as well. So if I click on the view cube here and I click, say, just in there like that, you'll see that it's changed it around to the front. So these little buttons let you move it around in the views as well. There you can go back to home here, it takes you back to where you were, so we'll go back to top, and there it is in top again. So the view cube is pretty good, so you can actually hold and move the view cube around, so you can navigate with the view cube there as well. Okay, so the other thing to remember, so you can click these little buttons here and they'll give you it back to where it should be. Ooh, here we go. That's why I wanted it. Now the other thing is that when you're working on a model, you probably need to, you can select these panels, these ports, I should say, with your right mouse. And that makes it easier when you're modeling. That doesn't affect what you're doing, so you can move around while you're modeling. Alright, now in each one of these panels you have selecting. Perspective view is kind of like the view that we would see normally. Okay, now you can change all these to have the same shadings, etc., smooth and highlights and perspective. So if you have a look at the little plus sign in each one of these, you'll see we've got all sorts of configurations here. We can turn the view cubes on and off. There's another thing called a steering wheel that you can use. You can configure the viewports from there. You can then go to the perspective one or the front one in the other ones here, and you can change the views around from there. And you can also select cameras and stuff, go for a camera or lights. We'll show you that later on. And then also here with the smooth and highlights, this views the smooth and highlights, the you can have wireframe, which these are all guys are all set at, and lighting and shadows. So those things are in there. Now navigating around, well, okay, so you can actually select a viewport like so. Let's go back to the perspective, and Alt W is a shortcut for opening, bringing it right out, expanding that port right out to 1. So that's one little thing I wanted to show you. Alt W to go back again. And the other thing is you'll find most of your controls from navigating around down the right hand corner. Okay, so these are the main controls that I use. Okay, so your middle mouse button, click it in and drag it up and down. That will give you a zoom. Okay, that's your middle mouse button. Alt and your your middle mouse button down makes you can actually navigate around in space, in 3D space. Okay. If you let go of Alt, you can actually pan up and down, etc. Okay. And Control lets you actually do that as well. So there you go. So you've got a few different controls in there. So middle mouse button, roll, zoom. Alt, middle mouse button, pan around. But again, you can do all that from your view cube up here as well by just clicking and holding that. So that's how you move around. Also down in your controls down on your right hand side, you can actually use those to say, well, let's have a look. Say my teapot's out there like that. I can come in here and I can use this button down here because zoom extent selected, like so, and that should zoom it up for me. There we go, it zoomed it up then. And if you want to zoom them all up at the same time, all your views, you can click the next button, zoom extends all, and that should work. I had to kind of click it twice, both of those buttons, but they zoomed them all up. So these little buttons controllers, there's a pan for instance, you can pan in and out. So you don't need to have the 3-button mouse to do all this, you can use the controllers here. So there's your pan. Okay, so you have controllers down here. There's shortcuts to shortcuts to have different views, etc. So like in this perspective view, I can change that with shortcuts. I can expand the one view from the button down in the corner here, or I can do it with Alt W. So there's a few of the controllers. Have a little play around and see how you go.